Hi, I'm Dan. I'm the practice manager for Relate, and I'm here with Stephen, our director. And what we're here to talk about today is a course we just created called Presence-Oriented Relationship Therapy. And Stephen, the question is, why would someone choose Port over all the other therapy options?
Hey Dan, yeah, I'm really excited to be here, and I'm really pumped. It's taken a number of years to actually get this project completed. Um, for me, this is a very kind of personal thing. When my marriage was in trouble, we went to a therapist who was a good individual therapist, but not trained in working with couples therapy. And lovely guy, but my ex and I were sitting in front of him arguing and thinking we could do this stuff at home for free.
Right.
And so then again, when we were at the crisis point and I mentioned the idea of counseling again, my partner was like, well, we've already done that. It didn't work. And so then when I got exposed to some of the research about it, it found out that actually we're not alone. That the research indicates that therapists who are not trained specifically in how to work with couples have a success rate of somewhere between about 50 and 55%, which is roughly the rate of the divorce rate. And it's similar to trying to work stuff out on their own, which kind of sucks if you're working with couples and your best case is you're going to be about as good as them, and your worst case is you're worse than them. And so, when I got exposed to some of the specialist approaches, for me, there's a real strong sense of mission around this work. And so, I've trained in a lot of different approaches and continue to train in that because it's something that's really important. My challenge was that I then started to get really busy, working with clients, and I was getting overwhelmed with a number of clients. And the other thing that I was struggling with is that I would get people who would be calling up who would be needing help. And so, I'd say, well, this is my rate. And I'd be like, oh my God, we can't afford to come and see you, which felt awful. Because on the one hand, I needed to pay my bills, and doing a lot of this training, particularly from New Zealand, was expensive, in order to do that. And so what I started doing was training interns so that we could offer a lower cost therapy and in the process, start upskilling people. And so we developed Port from that perspective. The idea was to give interns a simple way to onboard quickly. When I started doing the specialist training, it really took a year and a half before I was kind of competent. And that's a lot of people that, in retrospect, I could have been better with. And so Port was basically saying, how do we take the best from all of these different approaches and kind of onboard you faster, get you moving faster, and make those resources available. So we've applied a bunch of learning theory stuff, like we've broken the training down into small blocks, that it's focused on specific topic areas. And we just really want to make this training available to everyone. So it's the place to start. And what our hope is that you will come in, that you will be able to be really successful much quicker, and that you will then go on to go and train in all of these other fantastic approaches, to do Imago, do Gottman, to do EFT, to do PAC, to do HEART, to do the developmental. All of them have amazing things to offer. What we have here is something with Port that will give you a base so that you're going to be able to assimilate that material faster and make a difference. There's a huge shortage of trained couples therapists. There's a lot of stuff that we can do in couples therapy that can really change people's lives more rapidly. You can have more fun. There's more connection, and so we're really excited about this, and we're looking forward to seeing you on the training.
Stephen, and as you're going through that, it reminds me of two very important things I learned as we were building this. First is that good couples work can be more directive than individual work. And because of that, you can become competent at it in a much more concrete manner. And then the other part of that is having been a trained individual therapist myself, there were a lot of beliefs that I had that actually were bad for couples therapy. And I think that even if a person were to be an individual therapist, don't intend to do couples work, Port is a way to really make you help your clients put a lot more because you're not falling into these traps.
Absolutely, Dan. The research is really clear that when people go and see individual therapists about relationship issues, their marriage or relationship, the risk for that goes up significantly higher. So yes, if you are someone who still had no intention of ever being a couples therapist, but people come and talk to you about relationship issues, and there's always relationship issues, Core Training will help you with that as well.
Excellent. Thank you. And if you're watching this, the link to see the first lesson from Port is available below.